Paedo hunters nab Paedo hunters. There's a good job. That's a good job if you can get it. Paedo hunters nab Pakistani migrant who didn't understand it was illegal to have sex with minors. Probably important to point out that this is minors, M-I-N-O-R-S. Paedo hunters. I'm never going to get over that one. Adil Sultan, 39, thought he was meeting a 14-year-old girl named Laura for sex when he traveled to Sunderland, England from his home in Middlesbrough in August 2017. But upon his arrival in Sunderland, rather than meeting the child he had contacted on the website Scout, he was Scout. This is spelled S-K-O-U-T. S-K-O-U-T. Okay, I realize pronouncing English words can be rather difficult. I mean, what with S-C-I-E-N-C-E being pronounced science and not science. But S-K-O-U-T? Where was I? I'll start over. But upon his arrival in Sunderland, rather than meeting the child he had contacted on the website Scout, he was confronted by members of the pedophile hunting group Guardians of the North. Pedophile. You can't make this stuff up. I need this job. I want to be a pedophile hunter. I can't. I just can't go on. Okay, another try at that paragraph. But upon his arrival in Sunderland, rather than meeting the child he had contacted on the website Scout, he was confronted by members of the... You know what? Never mind. Next paragraph. The group states on its Twitter profile that it is dedicated to keeping our children safe from online grooming and pedophiles, and sets up fake accounts on social media to expose adults looking for sex with children. Video obtained by the Sunderland Echo shows the migrant being apprehended by Guardians of the North, who then made a citizen's arrest under Section 24A of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act of 1984. There's a mouthful. That's almost like pedophile hunter. Detaining Sultan until the police arrived. That video is hilarious, by the way. Anyway, Newcastle Crown Court later heard that the Pakistani national believed it was okay to have sex with a 14-year-old child, the Echo reports. I'm sure he lay awake at night wondering what the laws of England might be. Anyway, Sultan's defense, Mohammed Rafiq, yes, of course, said his client didn't understand that it was illegal. Obviously, each country is different. Well, yeah, when your religious figure is a pedophile, but I digress. When Judge Penny Moreland asked Mr. Rafiq to clarify that it was the fact that it was not okay to have sex with 14-year-olds that his client did not understand, the defense lawyer replied he did not understand that. Sentencing Sultan to 17 months imprisonment and to 10 years on the sex offender register, Judge Moreland told him, "You used a false name. You said you were 25 when in fact you were 29. You know, that really is a good point. I didn't know that it was not okay to have sex with a 14-year-old. The reason I changed my name is because my mother named me Adil, and I kind of wish she had named me Mohammed. And I know exactly how that feels. My mother named me James, and I've always kind of wished she had called me Carlos. But anyway, so that's why I changed my name. Nothing to do with the fact that I wanted to have sex with a 14-year-old. And the reason I said I was 25 instead of 39 is I'm really stressed about the fact that I'm turning 40 next year. Dumbass. Moving on. Very quickly, the judge says, Laura told you she was 14. Nonetheless, you went on to discuss having penetrative sexual activity with her. The conversation very quickly became sexual, and you were asking for indecent images of herself. Your barrister tells me you thought it was okay to have sex with 14-year-olds. That is no excuse and offers you no mitigation. No excuse. Well, that's putting it lightly, isn't it? The migrant, quote, apologized to the court for his actions, claiming that he had not visited Scout, spelled with S-K-O-U-T, to intentionally look for children to have sex with. Well, why no? Of course not. His lawyer states that his client intends to apply for asylum in the UK because it is unsafe for the convicted sex offender to return to Pakistan. I just can't even. The mood in that particular country is quite heated at the moment because a young girl, 8 years old, was abducted and killed, Mr. Rafiq explained. He has instructed me that it would be unsafe for him to go back to his country, and someone else is instructed to make application for asylum. That is another matter for another tribunal. Stats obtained by the BBC show that more than 44% of cases involving child sex grooming meetings used evidence evidence obtained by pedophile hunters. In 2017, with the Guardians of the North claiming to have snared 68 abusers in just 10 months. But police leaders, possibly embarrassed by the success of these citizens groups after police sources were lambasted for apparently covering up abuse by mostly Muslim grooming rings themselves, have voiced strong opposition to their activities. Yeah, I'm sure they have been. Hey, we've got these guys over here, never been trained in law enforcement, and they're actually protecting women from rape and stuff. I say, a bloody idea and all that sort of shit. These vigilante groups are putting the lives of children at risk. Listen to this guy. These vigilante groups are putting the lives of children at risk. They prevented a, quote, Asian from having sex with a 14-year-old girl. God. Anyway, these vigilante groups are putting the lives of children at risk, alleged Chief Constable Simon Bailey, the National Police Chiefs Council lead for child protection. He's the lead for child protection. These guys saved a 14-year-old girl from being effectively raped, and you think the 14-year-old girl these guys saved think that her life was... I don't even understand how these guys wake up and look at themselves and don't... I just don't even know. What kind of a man is that? These vigilante groups are putting the lives of children at risk. They saved a 14-year-old girl from being statutorily raped. Anyway, I'm not going to condone these groups, and I would encourage them all to stop, but I recognize that I'm not winning that conversation. I think working with vigilantes is something we're going to potentially have to look at, yes, but it comes with some real complexity. Yes, it's very complex, isn't it? Yes, very complex. They saved 14-year-old girls from being statutorily raped by Asian men, and it's complicated. Well, yes, it's complicated because these pedophile hunters are actually out there doing your job. You know, it's some educators I've met, not all, of course, but some educators I've met who meet homeschoolers and say, what makes you think you're qualified to educate your own children? Well, the fact that when I got done, the punk was able to get his ass into Harvard. That's kind of one thing. And he can read. He was able to read his own diploma. Well, that's what these cops are like. These cops are like, hey, these people don't have police training. They shouldn't be out there actually rescuing people from being statutorily raped. They just don't even know how do these people even take themselves seriously? I think I'd be ashamed and embarrassed. Yeah, I'd be ashamed and embarrassed that a bunch of civilians with no police training whatsoever were out there doing my job for me. I'd be ashamed and embarrassed that I had to be dragged away from the desk chair I've been polishing with my ass for only God knows how long, not doing my job, not protecting teenage girls, and complaining that these guys are making my life complicated by making me do my job. These guys are putting children at risk. These guys are actually catching pedophiles, and they're the ones putting children at risk. Not guys like this guy right here who's trying to smash a 14-year-old, but the vigilante is trying to protect 14-year-old girls. Brits. You'd think they'd be a little bit more sensitive to these things after Rotherham. How many girls was it in Rotherham? Hundreds? Thousands? Over what, a 30-year period? Groomed as sex slaves by Asian men? And the police had to be dragged, kicking and screaming, to go investigate these things. Why? Because these were white and Asian girls, and nobody gives a crap about white and Asian girls. And the perpetrators were Asian men. And the police were afraid of what? That the Asian men might shoot at them? No. They were afraid that they investigated these crimes, the perps being Asian men, would cry racism. The police were more concerned about being labeled as racist than they gave a crap about preventing young British girls from being turned into sex slaves. That was okay. It was okay that they were sex slaves. Just don't call me a racist. Damn it, I need a drink.